Oh, we've got a crash in front. Oh, those two cars. Oh no, get out my way, mate. What are you doing? Just driving across the circuit. Hello there viewers, and welcome back to another video today here on Assetto Corsa. So you join me today for a very special type of video, because today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be having a look through the history of Silverstone. So Silverstone, obviously the home of the British Grand Prix, going to be having a look back through the past, seeing where it came from. So this video is being made at the special request of Tony McMullen, so this is for you, Tony. I hope you enjoy it. Before I get started with the video though, I've got good news. So some things have arrived in the post. So you would have seen in the last two Assetto Corsa videos I've been using this, my Fanatec Formula Room that came with the steering wheel, but what I have managed to get myself off of eBay is this. So I have got myself a Fanatec Universal Hub, a Clubsport Universal Hub, and I have got myself an O&P Mugello steering wheel. So now, when I make these videos, I can drive them properly with a proper steering wheel. Car's nice and easy to drive. I can have nice big power slides without breaking my wrist with this Formula Room. So yeah, that's the new news for you today. So what we're going to be doing first then is we're going to be driving around the absolutely original version of Silverstone, which not many people know about. It is the 1948 version of Silverstone. So Silverstone was created in, well, the RAF base was created in 1943. World War II ended in 1945, so it was no longer needed, and so in 1947 the track was taken over by the RAC, who ran British Motorsport back in the days, and then the first ever race was held around there in 1948. So without further ado, let's get on to it. Okay, so you join me here then in the pit lane at the 1948 version of Silverstone, and well, before I get going, I'm going to bring up a map on screen now so you can see the layout of the 1948 version of Silverstone, and what you'll notice is that it looks absolutely nothing like any other versions of Silverstone, and well, as we get out of the pit lane here, I will show you why. So, pulling out of the pits, got a Talbot coming up behind me, don't go into the back of me, thank you. Going into turn number 1, we're going into Copse Corner here. You can see the track turns right on to the runways. So, the original version of Silverstone actually used the runways, the airstrips in between the perimeter road. So, the version of Silverstone that people know nowadays, that uses the perimeter roads around the outside of the runways, but yeah, the original version of Silverstone actually used the runways in the middle of the circuit. So that is what we are on here. So yeah, it made for quite an interesting circuit, quite a boring track in my opinion, to be honest. As you will see over the course of the next few minutes, the track was a bit dull, to be honest. A lot of hairpins, slow speed corners, and not too much in the way of fast high speed corners. But coming back onto the perimeter road now, going through Beckett's, we've got a Talbot in front of us. So the format for this, what we're going to be doing is a one-shot qualifying basically. So we're on the out lap here, and then a one-lap race, basically just to show you guys the circuit, to show you what it's all about. And then I'll be moving on and showing you the 1960s version of Silverstone. So we're driving Juan Manuel Fangio's Alfetta. So this is the Alfa Romeo 158 from 1948 that we're driving here. As we turn back off the perimeter road now at Stowe, and back onto the runways, back into the infield section. So this is kind of where the Stowe circuit is nowadays, and I think the Stowe circuit uses this runway nowadays. So those of you who have played games like Project Cars 2, they have the Stowe circuit in them. So this is roughly where that track is nowadays. It's on this runway section here. Now heading back towards the perimeter road, we're now heading up to Club Corner. So that's nowadays the final corner on the modern day version of Silverstone. And then slamming on the brakes just at the spectators on the left hand side. We've got this Talbot in front of us. Can I gap him a bit? I think I've got a car behind me, so I'm going to have to just start my qualifying lap with traffic in front of me. Yeah. So back onto the perimeter road then. Heading up to Abbey, to the final corner. So just to note with this mod, it's not quite accurate, it's not 100% accurate. The pit lane should be here on the right hand side. This is where the pits were and where the start finish line was in 1948 before it got moved to its more commonly known location for 1950. So heading into Woodcote then, into turn number 1, very fast right hander, try and feather the throttle to steer the car around. Power slide out, braking just after the bridge for turn number 2 for Copse Corner. And hard on the brakes now, down to second gear, It's quite a reasonably fast right-hander. This it's not as tight a corner as some of the other hairpins on this circuit. Now getting the power down onto the first bit of runway. You've got that talbot in front of us. This car's got about 350 brake horsepower. And it actually was a very dominant car in its time. This car entered 54 Grand Prix and it won 47 of them. Yes, that is. I think that is the epitome of dominance. Those people who moan about Mercedes nowadays can shut their faces, to be honest. Yeah, this is the epitome of dominance. Going up the inside of that talbot. Hopefully, I won't make contact with him. Now going through Beckett's, getting the power down. I've kept it in third gear because traction can be an issue out of there. Can get very wild out of Beckett's as we go through Chapel and lose the back end then. Now heading up to Stowe down the Hanger Straight. So this piece of circuit is one of the pieces of circuit that you should be vaguely familiar with. Now on the brakes for Stowe into this right-hander. Try and get the power down without kicking out the back end. That's probably the tightest corner on the circuit, to be honest. As you come onto the runway again. So you've got in front of us, you've got Copse Corner. So if we just kept going straight on here, we'd be back at Copse. Now braking at the 10s on the left hand side, down to second gear. And into this hairpin as we come towards the end of the lap. Got, I think that's another Alfa Romeo in front of us. It's either that or Ferrari, one of the two. All these cars, by the way, are from 1948. So they are correct for the period. Like I was saying with this car, very dominant car. It was actually first used in 1938. So this car was used for 13 years. That's how good it was. It spanned World War II and continued to dominate after the war. And in fact, Juan Manuel Fangio, whose car I am driving in here, won the 1951 World Championship driving this car. So that's how long this car was in use for. That's just how dominant it was. Completely dominated the 1951 World Championship as well. So coming across the line, where are we going to be on the grids? I think we've just qualified second by the looks of things, which, considering there's 40 cars, I don't think it's too bad, you know. And the fact that I was just talking throughout that lap, I don't think that's too bad, qualifying in second place. Okay, so as qualifying comes to an end then, looks like we've ended up being shuffled down to P5. So starting 5th place on the grid then. I think we're the first out of the Alfa Romeos actually. Yeah, first of the Alfettis. Got 3 Ferraris in front of us and a Talbot on par. That's quite impressive. Don't think the Talbot was very quick, so that's a good lap there from that fake driver. But then as we go to get the race underway, putting it in first gear, building up the race, and as we wait for the 6 lights to go out, and away we go for a kind of recreation of the 1948 British Grand Prix, sort of. But getting away then, heading up to Woodcote 410-1. Didn't get a particularly good start there, although it will do. Now on the brakes for Woodcote, quite a fast corner this. You can take this in third gear. Try and avoid the cars on the outside. The AI around the circuit, they're actually quite good. I was really quite impressed with them in practice. They brake a bit early for some of the corners, but you know, they're by and large pretty decent. The links for this mod, by the way, are down in the description, so if anyone does want to check this mod out, then do feel free. So heading down, oh, we've got a car on the left, didn't see that, I was about to move over to the left then. Heading down to turn number 3 then, braking just as the trees end on the right hand side. Try not to get dive-boned. Oh, there's a crash in front. That's a Ferrari into the back of, I think, of an Alfa Romeo there. So avoid that. As I lose the back end going through there then. Just lost the back end on those bumps. Now heading back up to the Perimeter Road, heading up to Beckett's. Going to hit the brakes. It's a really awkward corner this. I was really struggling to get this right in practice. As we teeter our way through. Now into Beckett's itself. So this version of the track, as you may be able to tell, it cuts out maggots. So yeah, those bits of runway cuts out maggots and cuts out... I think that's the only corner it does cut out, actually. Oh, don't hit that car there as we go through Chapel. Don't hit the car on the right. Can't really work out what is a Ferrari, by the way, and what's an Alfa Romeo. They look exactly the same to me, so apologies for not being able to tell the difference. I think that's an Alfa Romeo. And now on the brakes, just as the grass starts on the left-hand side. Can we do this car around the outside here? Can we get 5th place back? Don't think we can until I get the power down there. yeah, he had the inside there. It was always going to be a difficult move to pull off. Now heading down to what is I think the third to last corner on the circuit, braking at the 10th on the left hand side. Oh, we've got a crash in front. Oh, those two cars. Oh no, get out my way, mate. What are you doing? Just driving across the circuit. Right, that's lost us a little bit of time there. We are up into 4th though, so I'll take that. Fortunately, damage is turned off for this race so that I can actually get through it. Now, heading into the second to last corner, into club corner. As we rejoin the circuit, we've got a car on our right hand side. Just had to give him space there. Last thing I wanted to do is to come flying into me. I've got more force feedback, by the way, on 100% for this race, and I have a direct driver wheel. I've done it to try and recreate the forces of real life. Obviously, these cars in real life, they were monsters, didn't have power steering or anything like that. But yes, the steering wheel, it's rather vicious when someone hits you. That is why I'm being very, very careful of this AI. Oh yeah, sorry, we come across the line, haven't we? Just forgot I was a one-lap race. So where did we finish in there? We finished 8th. Alright. 8th place then, not too bad. I'll take that considering there was 40 cars and everyone was trying to kill each other. So that's the 1948 version of Silverstone then. Next up is the 1960s version of Silverstone. So we'll head over to that now.
Okay, so you join me on the grid here then for the 1967 version of Silverstone, and we're going to be driving in this 4-lap race. We're going to be driving a Lotus 49B, which is quite an interesting car because, well, as you can see on screen now, it's got a rather odd front wing. Yes, the front wing is attached to the front suspension and is miles up in the air, higher than the rear wing, or as high as the rear wing, and is yeah, rather strange. So this car basically is from 1968, and it is from the era where kind of F1 started to first dabble in aerodynamics. So 1968 was the first year of wings. Basically, car designers, they realised that they could attach wings to the car, and they just went mad. They just went berserk and put wings everywhere. There's all kinds of strange cars from the late 60s, yeah, with all kind of weird aerodynamic contraptions. But without further ado, let's get going. So as I hit start then, and put the car into gear. So as the lights come on then, and away we go. Got a not so good launch there, bogged down a bit there, didn't give it enough revs, but going up to Copse Corner then. So by this point in time, the track had changed, so you had Copse Corner was turn 1, the pits had been moved to their more commonly known position. Now, exiting Copse Corner to make a position there, and coming through Maggots for the first time, so this is what Maggots used to look like, and now into Beckett, so you can be familiar with this corner. This is no different to the 1948 version. To be honest, I think the mod that I was just using, the 1948 mods, basically used just the 1967 track that we're driving here, but with the runway's been used, just with some hay bales, changed the position of them. Now coming down to Stowe. Stowe used to be a very tight corner, you can see it here. Used to be one of the slowest corners on the circuit. It definitely isn't the case nowadays. But yeah, could go down to second gear for Stowe. Oh, that Ferrari's just gone defensive. So you can see the rear wing on that Ferrari. It's more, as I give it a tap, it's more of a mid-wing than a rear wing. I mean, it's kind of above the driver's head. It's highly bizarre. And you'll also see at some point, hopefully in this race, a Cosworth, so an actual Cosworth car. Yes, Cosworth used to make cars. Obviously nowadays Cosworth are known as an engine supplier, as the leaders in engine makers across the world. But yeah, in 1969 they decided to make a car. As I get tapped by that Lotus on the right there, and it had 4-wheel drive. Yes, that's right, a 4-wheel drive F1 car made by Cosworth. Very, very odd. Whoa, Jesus. That Lotus is vicious. She hit me twice. Maybe I wasn't leaving enough space, but it was a bit vicious then. Now heading through Maggots for the second time this race. It's the 4-lap race. Now down to Beckett's. Oh, we just got around the outside of 2 cars. I think we have, you know. On the power out of Beckett, still got the car on the right. Now through the track ball, can we seal the position off? Yes, we can. Now up into P5, I think it is. Yes, up into 5th. So that's back to where we started. Now on the brakes once more for Stowe. I do like this version of Silverstone, the classic version of Silverstone. Quite a fast circuit. There was the Cosworth, by the way, just behind us. Look behind, that's the Cosworth. Very fast track. Got a lot of flow to it. Not very safe though. So you'll see in the video after this, in the part 2 video, what was done about Silverstone, because yeah, it wasn't a particularly safe circuit. Very fast. It was like the fastest circuit on the F1 calendar, and especially out of Woodcote here, really not much runoff areas. If you look to the outside there, really, yeah, isn't too much in the way of runoff areas, just a little bit of grass, and then into the grandstands basically. So on the brakes, once more for Cops corner. Oh, there's a miss gear then. They didn't press the clutch down properly then. Now coming through Maggots once more. I do kind of like this version of Maggots and Beckett's. Definitely not as good as the modern version. It's not bad, but I mean, the modern day version of the Maggots Beckett's Chapel Complex is just, you know, some of the best cars in the world. I think most people would agree with that. So we're in P4 now. On the brakes once more for Stowe. I love going down through the gears in this car. The way you can just rifle down through the gears. Just slam it down to 2nd gear from 5th then into Stowe. Now I'll brake at the club corner. Down to 2nd gear. So the car doesn't bog down and exit. Oh, just touch the grass ever so slightly. Which got away with that. Now into Abbey. You can not quite take this flat out. Just need to lift ever so slightly. Now coming under the bridge, on the brakes for Woodcote, braking just at the end of the slip road on the left hand side. Don't hit the bollards. Oh, I say that as I hit the bollards. On the apex of Woodcote, got that Lotus 49B catching up behind. Need to get my foot down on this one and that. .6 seconds is the gap according to the delta down the bottom left. So braking just after the sign on the left for Beckett's. Brakes a bit early then. Get over to the right hand side for Chapel, which you can take flat out if you get it right. So we've managed to floor it through there. Now up to Stowe for the last time, braking again at the sign on the left hand side. It's on the brakes now. Rifle it down to 2nd gear, carry the speed through the corner. Do not touch the grass on the exit. We're managing to get that Lotus behind at the moment. And then braking for club corner just before the hay bales end on the left hand side. And so quite well, quite happy with that. Now through Abbey, try and cut the corner as much as possible, just be careful with the curb, it can just unsettle the car. Then on the power, up to Woodcote for the final time this race. Slam on the brakes, like I say, at the end of the slip road on the left hand side. Do not hit the bollards. And out of the final corner, across the line, we're going to finish in P4. 4th place. I am happy with that indeed. Very happy with that. The AI is incredibly good in this version of the track in these cars. Very good indeed. But yeah guys, I hope you did enjoy watching that video. That was part 1. Part 2 will be going up in the coming days, and it will be looking at kind of the modernisation of Silverstone, what must be made and done to make it safer, and how it's got to where it is nowadays. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that video. Feel free to like and subscribe, do all of that good stuff, and I will see you all then. So goodbye.